Okay, so I haven't uploaded in a long time, but I just kind of thought that I want to show you an opening that is very strong, and I played it as white, and I won a lot of games of it. It's solid, it's patient. You're waiting for your opponent to make like a mistake or something, and then you just win. So this opening is not like D4, E4 openings. It's just a not so common move, C4. So this opening is also known as the English opening, which you develop a side pawn to control over the squares. So this is not a common opening, so your opponent might not know what to do against it. So some might just put the most common move actually is E5. Well, it's kind of like the reverse Sicilian, and after they play that, you just play knight c3, reverse Sicilian. Then most likely they will just develop the knight. Then after that, they will you actually will do g3, getting ready to encounter your bishop, and then you play d3 to get to push your e4 pawn, and then you also have to push h3 so you stop the knight and bishop coming in. And yeah, some of your opponents might play this move. You just develop, they do that, you push. So now they can come, but you just put the knight here. But now you're taking control. Nope, not there. Of the d5 square, which is one of the central squares, so they cannot push. If they just put move that, or just block it, and then do that. D3, take castle, attack it, and you go back. I'll just say castle. The bishop's there, and then later you just kinda push f4 after you put your king there. So let's say they do this, we do that, and then they do a move like that. Then you just push f4, they take, just take the bishop so you can develop it. And if the queen moves, then you just tick the pawn. Cause if their pawn ticks, you just take the rook. So you're winning a pawn and open up the entire king side. So yeah. Now you can, if you don't like the bishop pinning this, then you can just push g4 and then do some other moves on the king side to attack. Because like this position is actually good for you because like you developed all your pieces. The king is castle and safe, and if this pawn moves, you have a diagonal across the entire board for your bishop. And this rook has open file by the time your bishop moves away, and not to here because we blunder the bishops here. So yeah, I played this English opening a lot, and I won a lot of games because this opening is strong and solid. There's also other openings you can play, like the Vienna. Well, not that. The Vienna, which I made a video on with the Ponziani, but yeah, the Ponziani is like this. Like, before I actually played it, and I realized how goofy that opening is. Cause like, you get trying to do this, and there's that. Like, like whatever you're gonna do. And then to just getting your pieces developed, well, you have one, and then you're gonna try to trade it off and do winning. So I wouldn't recommend playing the Ponziani. I would just say to play like the Vienna, because like if your opponent doesn't know how to play against it, you can do the Vienna Gambit, and if your opponent accepts, then you just do that. Take the knight back there. There's always a chance your opponent might blunder to one of these squares and blunder their knight. And yeah, you'll be winning, and you're already winning anyways, because like by the time this happens, their only move is put the knight back. So you have a piece that's developed, now it's 2, and they only have 1, and then you can take control of the center and win your pawn back. But if your opponent knows how to go against the Vienna Gambit, it might be a bit annoying to move d5. You take this pawn, they'll take this pawn, take, even trade, and the pawn's winner. They have queen h4, and you just block like that, so everything's fine, because they can't take that pawn with check and win a rook. If this is your pawn, then they could, but this is their pawn. You can't capture their own pawn. They can't capture their own pawn. So yeah, this is d5. Is the move to go against the Vienna Gambit. It's either strong if you're gonna play it, but for opponent, a bit annoying, because like it's actually very hard to do this. Like I don't even know what to do against this. I just normally like, take this pawn, allow them, and just like that. Like this is just an easier version for me, but yeah. There's another opening that is called the Bishop's opening, and like every time someone plays the Bishop's opening, they're always trying to do this, the 4-move checkmate. But this actually can work around the beginner level, like Elo 100 to maybe 800, maybe. It's like, is it 1000 maybe? I don't know. Actually, don't really know. Like, it's 1000 beginner level, but still. 800 is kind of, because I've been there and I play terrible when I play the queen, wayward queen attack. So, the bishop's opening, people might think you're trying to go queen to h4, ib5, so they might just play knight f6 to stop it. When I play that, they actually attack your pawn. Well, most people will just go d3 to defend the pawn, so the knight can't take and go into a boring game of chess, develop, and most likely this is the position you get. Bishop develop, this move, that move. And they just try to trade off the bishop, you defend it, they develop their knight, you play this move. So you play knight to d2 because you just defend the bishop, so after they take, it won't be a bad double pawn. And yeah, most likely I just move the bishop back to b3, so if they take, it opens up the rook. But now your knights can get developed if they take the bishop now. It still works, but I just like bishop b3 more. So there's actually trapped when they play the move knight f6. You can play a trap and ignore them and allow them to take your pawn. So they might just take this pawn actually with the knight instead of this one, because I think they have a strong move, queen h4 check and then a rook. So first you will ignore that completely by playing the move d3, attacking like their knight and their pawn. So some of them might play this and slide the bishop back, and then everything's fine. They try to do that, just block. Not that hard. And yeah, but they might think they're winning because they're gonna win a rook. Because a move the king, mate in 1. So you can't move your king at all. Even here it's mate in 1, same thing. So you have to block the pawn. But then they just take your pawn right off. And if you're like a more higher rated player, you're like, oh, you cannot take the knight. But if you're like around 800, you're like, okay, it's a free knight, just take it. But yeah, if you take that, then the queen will just take the rook because the pawn's in the pin. In a nice trap. Trapping the rook in it. The only move you can play in this position is knight f3. Attacking queen, so if a knight takes that rook, you take their queen and you're winning queen. Congrats. But your opponent doesn't want you to win their queen, so they might play only if they play a move queen h3, you just sacrifice your bishop, take on f7, you're winning a whole pawn, and if they take it, you have a very strong move, knight g5, check, fork on king and queen, and you're winning the game. Because why not? So if they don't take it, you're winning a pawn, and everything's fine. And you just later move the rook out of the way. But if they move it here, what's the timer? Timer for something. Well, then you can just move your lovely rook out of danger. So you won't lose a rook. They take, they win a knight. So this bishop's opening Greco gambit is strong if your opponent plays the move you want, but it's also strong even if they don't. Cause like you have a good position, like now they have to defend the knight. What's not gonna do there? And then you take this pawn, you're back to even almost, and you have a rook over open file. The queen's on the side of the board, and can be an easy target for you. Like if you can just somehow get this diagonal, the queen off this diagonal, that'd be great. Because then you can just take your knight, take this one. Because take, you're threatening a fork like that. So yeah, the bishop's opening has a trap to it that is strong, but I wouldn't very much recommend it because it's a bit risky because it's aggressive openings like Scotch Gambit are very risky. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed some of these chess openings and you can win more games. The opening I recommend most if you want to win more games might be the English because it's solid and strong. Even if you blunder in the opening, if you play solidly and correctly, you can make a comeback and win later on in the game. Well, I did, so I hope you do too. Because in the English, when they attack your pawn, you're supposed to tick. So, well, actually that's not. So there's this, I did this. So they attack my pawn. So the correct move was to tick. Let's get different, I think, like this weird thing. So yeah, the correct move was to tick, but instead I did not tick and play this weird move. So I was like, okay, you can just tick the pawn and then you just win it back later. I don't really care. But instead he pushed And which I should have played knight there, knight here, knight here. But instead, I put my knight right there. Which I blunder the whole knight. As you see this elevation. Because now, with the move f5, my knight is trapped. Whole diagonal's gone. This actually takes down the whole knight and then just blocks it. So I was like, okay, take a risk, put it here, hope he doesn't see it. He sees it, helps him develop. So the game went on, and he blunders a little, because I just play solidly instead of aggressive by pushing f4. I just play this, push this little, and just kind of knight there, castle, king on h2, push, bishop right there, control the whole diagonal. So later I made a comeback and won the game. So I can't find the game that I played, but I think this kind of shows you how strong the English opening is if you play correctly. And also this move controls the whole diagonal, so this bishop right here is trapped and stuck guarding his pawn, develop the knight. Well, we can just give several light square weakness and give the double pawn by taking the knight. Or you can just leave like this, which I recommend. So yeah, I just kind of hope you enjoyed this, and I hope it helped you a lot to win more games. And yeah, I'll just see you in the next video. Bye bye.